Demon Hunters 3 Tainted, written by Avril Sabine. Dedication. For you, Kat. Since it's currently your favorite. Book description. Cassidy is sick of her father looking for a miracle cure. He should accept there is none, instead of believing the lies told by those who prey on the desperate. But he doesn't, and Cassidy finds herself in an abandoned industrial building staring into the flame-streaked eyes of a demon. Only a thin line of salt keeping her alive. Chapter 1. Cassidy Wells dropped onto her bed, falling into the multicolored pillows piled up at the bedhead, staring at the posters on the wall opposite her. I don't know. She held her mobile phone against her ear, twisting a strand of long reddish-brown hair around a finger. Dad's been working from home a lot lately, Amy. Has been a real pain about the slightest noise. It was getting harder to come up with valid excuses. She knew that eventually Amy was going to get fed up and stop bothering, and she had no idea how to prevent that from happening. She let go of the strand of hair and it straightened immediately. Curls probably wouldn't suit her anyway. Oh, come on, Cass. It's been forever since I've slept at your place. Amy paused. Actually, I can't remember the last time I slept there. Cassidy could. Very clearly. It was back when life was still kind of normal. 8 years ago, when she was 9. Before they'd realized what was going on. I'll ask him. You say that every time. It's not like it's any fun having a dad who works from home. It's like living at his workplace. If only her father wasn't so determined to keep the promise her mum had pleaded with them to make years ago. No one would care. And after all this time, who was still in their life who'd known her mum before? Just keep pestering him. Frustration arrowed through her. As if that would make a difference. Amy, her door burst open, interrupting her words. Obviously she'd forgotten to lock her door again. She pressed her phone against the bed. Dad! How many times have I told you to knock? I could have been getting dressed or something. Her father, Tony, who was almost 6 foot, looked like he needed to eat more and had dark shadows under his eyes. His hazel eyes that matched hers currently gleamed with excitement. Normally they were filled with worry. Grab your bag. We're going out, baby. Cassidy stared at her father for a moment, trying to remember the last time she'd seen him this excited. A frown creased her forehead as she remembered the so-called miracle doctor he'd found about a year ago. She guessed once again it would be up to her to be sensible. When she nodded, her father spun on his heel, closing the door behind him. As she put the phone to her ear, she could hear Amy demanding if she was still there. I have to go. What's happening? Who were you talking to? Was that your dad? Did you ask him? I'll call you later. After I talk to him. Later tonight or later tomorrow. Who knew how long it would take to convince her father that it was probably only another person preying on the desperate? Tomorrow. Weariness washed over her. They couldn't keep living this life. None of them. Somehow she had to convince her father to accept the inevitable. She didn't want to watch life pass her by as he chased after non-existent miracles. Okay. Cassidy could hear the disappointment in her friend's voice. She knew that feeling well. Along with anger, frustration, and often wanting to scream at the world and demand why them. Sorry, Amy. I will ask him. But I can't promise he'll say yes. She already knew he'd say no. Already knew it was going to be a complete waste of time asking him. Maybe she was more like him than she'd thought. Okay, I'll see you at school tomorrow. But ring me first thing in the morning to let me know. If I have to wait until I see you at school, I'll probably die of curiosity. All right, I'll call you then. Bye. She disconnected, dropping the phone onto her bed as she rose from it. Grab her bag? What did he have planned? Were they going far? And who was going to look after Mum? They never went anywhere together. Someone always had to stay home to look after her. Well, maybe not never, but it might as well be. Cassidy strode to the mirror in her wardrobe door. Her lime green shirt and white jeans looked fine. Luckily, she'd put off having a shower. She checked the time. After 10. What was he thinking dragging her out at this time of night? When he'd burst into the room, she'd expected him to order her to bed. She shrugged, grabbing her handbag. What did it matter? It was a school night and she was going out instead of being sent to bed. Whatever stupid idea he'd discovered, should deal with it. At least this would get her out of the house for something other than school or grocery shopping. Slipping her phone inside her handbag, she headed for the front door. Tony was standing by it, jingling his keys. A plastic bag, bulging with odd-shaped items, was in his other hand. What took you so long? She put on her rainbow-colored sneakers, which had been lined up neatly by the door. Where are we going? Stepping outside, she watched him lock the door. Is it far? He only shook his head, remaining silent. She followed him to the white sedan parked in the driveway. There was enough light cast by the streetlight to see that her father was smiling. Dad? Again he shook his head, and when he unlocked the car, she slid into the passenger seat. Usually she was the one driving the car. But only to do the grocery shopping. Never anywhere else. Life was slipping her by, something that happened to other people, not her. Actually, it was slipping past the two of them, just out of reach while they remained a prisoner of her mum's illness. Tony waited until he was seated before he spoke. You're never going to believe me. Let's just say I've found someone who can cure Sylvia. Prepare to be amazed, baby. Dad, she broke off, not sure how to word her statement. It didn't seem to matter how many times she told him and how many crazy people promised a cure that never worked. Nothing could convince him that there wasn't one. She took a deep breath. There's no cure for Alzheimer's. Mum will never get better. His smile didn't dim. Just wait and see, Cass. Wait and see, baby. There's no point telling you. This is something you'll have to see for yourself to be able to believe it. Those words didn't reassure her. She eyed her father, unable to remember ever seeing him so excited. None of the other failed attempts had caused this level of excitement. It was worrying. And she worried even more when, over an hour later, they pulled up in front of an empty industrial building. Dad, I don't think we should be here. Whoever told you they can cure Mum wouldn't be at a place like this if it was legit. Outside the car, the area was quiet and deserted. There wasn't even another car parked nearby. It was the sort of place that probably wasn't good to visit during the day, let alone at night. Her gaze scanned the area, finding far too many shadowy places for her liking. Come on, Cass. Trust me.